Hello, everybody. Looks like we're live. Welcome to the Sunday Live stream, number 55. So I'm going to play a little bit. I'm going to take questions and talk about plans kind of for the week. All right. So released another short yesterday, another one of these YouTube shorts. Made some improvements on that, I think. Rather than doing it on the phone, I did it with this kind of regular desktop setup, and so I was able to bring the volume, kind of normalize the volume, and also the video quality. I think it's improved, and then put the notation directly on there, so folks can do that. I also have a link to that, so you could also visit the page that's in the description of the YouTube short. Not sure how far I'll go with that. We did one A section, just kind of doing it phrase by phrase. So I might do, I don't know, the next A section. I might let me know what you think. But so we completed one A section, so it does give you kind of an idea of maybe some ideas for playing changes, or you might use that as a line to play over certain melodies and things. So. Maybe we'll talk a little bit about some of the chords and things for Unit 7. So we get kind of a C7. We do get a C7. So it's kind of like having a blues progression, at least for the A sections, and then kind of go to the 4 chord and back to the 1 chord, dominant 7. A flat, D flat. So this is the one I talked about in the other. So it's interesting because it goes into C major there at the end, and then when you repeat the A section, you're kind of right back on the dominant 7 sort of thing. So I think I may have done a melody video on this, probably such a long time ago. But these notes, and then you can do like where you can play up like that, and then kind of repeats there, and then kind of comes up here. But anyway, maybe I'll put together something on that. So that gives you at least a little bit of an idea of it, and then so the bridge, we get been checking out a little bit of some Wes Montgomery when he's D minor 7. So really, really nice lines through there, but anyway, D minor 7, E7, A7. So you get kind of this 2, 5, 1 kind of progression. We start 2, 5, C, get that, and then sort of the same, but we go, or maybe something like that, and then kind of back to the tune there. So or not to the tune, but to the A section. So talk a little bit about some of the solo. Let's maybe bring this over here. So we had this part. So that's sort of interesting, right? Because this is kind of a G minor 7 arpeggio there that is playing on the C7. Okay, and then we get the root note. Okay, and then we're sliding into that tone. That's the A, that's the 13 of a C7. So when you take a look at some of these solos and things, you might think a little bit about what some of the note choices are. So the F is a particularly dissonant tone on the C7. So, but he does it quite a few times there. That one he plays really short. Right, so that's, it gives it a little suspended kind of sound. Okay. So, one kind of takeaway to think about when you're working through some of these things is to try to understand at least how some of the notes relate to the chords, and ideally all of them. So we have a 9, flat 7, 13, 5, and the third. So that's going to feel pretty resolved. So I'm thinking about the first 4 measures of the solo there. Oh, that's all on the C7. Hi, Geronimo. And I was just reading your question about SOS. Maybe I'll talk about that since you're here a little bit. So when are you going to do a tutorial on Full House? Yeah, that would be a good one. Not sure. There's so many things to do. But yeah, that's one. I love that album. That was one of my, or maybe still is, but that was one of my favorite albums for a long period of time, or maybe I should say most listened to albums for a good stretch of time. I was really kind of floored about it. Still am. And that SOS tune, I think you mentioned, that is also, really great tune. So maybe I will do a video on that one at some point. And I think I'll maybe talk a little bit about SOS in a moment here. But let's talk about this, a little bit of maybe the significance of some of this this line here. So we have okay, and we get this. So that's a little bit of a dissonance, right? And then we have a rest. So we have you might say a question and answer sort of situation, right? So we have a little bit of a dissonance on that, right? And so that note that this ends on, right? It's a dissonance on that. It's a non-chord tone, right? So that is really, that is a chord tone that he's ending on there. So that answers that whole thing. So one thing that you can do as a takeaway from studying some of these lines from someone like Wes Montgomery is take something like that and say, well, okay, what is kind of happening there, and what can I do that in my own solo? So you might say, okay, or maybe do something like that. So I'm just taking his ending note on the first half of that 4 bars, and then taking maybe the other ending note. So you say, okay, well, maybe rest a little bit, and kind of doing that call and response, or the question and answer. So so taking some of these transcriptions and playing them is useful for developing our own lines and things like that. But we could also take some concepts from them and apply them to our own playing. I'm glad to hear you're enjoying the lessons. So the SOS tune, I'm pulling up a little bit of a lead sheet here. So we have a C minor chord, and then we have a 2-5 to the flat 6. Then we have a 2-5 back to the 1, 5 of the flat 6, then 5 to the parallel major. Sort of interesting. We could kind of relate this a little bit to Unit 7, where we take on Unit 7, where we take that dominant 7 chord at the beginning, and then as the phrase ends, or as a section ends, and we end up on a major 7. So sort of similar kind of thing, although this is a minor 7. So that's basically the A sections. And I believe the way this works is you have an A, B, A kind of form for solos, and then we have a little bit of an extended form for the melody. But anyway, that's kind of the A section, and then we have 2-5, G minor 7, C7 for the bridge, another 2-5, F minor 7, B flat 7, B flat 7, A7, A flat 7, and then a G7 with some alterations there to the 5. So that would definitely be a real fun one to put a video together on. So a couple of things, maybe just mention about Wes Montgomery, and so he had a really, obviously a really big impact on music, and was a really big influence on Pat Metheny, who's another guitarist who feature a lot of his tunes and things. And I think both of those two guitarists and musicians and composers are good examples of folks who can play, a lot of language, sort of talk a lot about a lot of things on the instrument, but are also appealing to musicians and non-musicians. So I think that's kind of an important aspect of things. It doesn't have to be. It all depends on kind of what your goals are, or what one's goals are, and if you have any. And right, so you have folks like that, and I think George Benson maybe is another example of a musician who's got maybe a lot of bebop language, or has some foundation in that kind of thing, and goes pretty deep like that. So so maybe that's a little bit of something to think about there. That change, the sort of thing, the C minor, the flat six, or in any key really, that's an important sort of thing to work on. And so there's certain tunes where even if it's major, where you might have certain changes with certain types of turnarounds. So you might have like going to whatever, minor or major or anything. So you have a tone that is, let's say, a major third below or a minor third below. there's kind of a relationship there, or a major third above or minor third above. So you have a bit of changes that kind of make things kind of move a little outside there. So, or so different kinds of turnarounds and things. So getting familiar with all those circumstances is kind of important. So if you come across a tune like Unit 7, or you come across a tune like SOS, then you're feeling kind of equipped, to handle that, and maybe equipped to handle it in different keys and things too. So that's why I really would I really recommend to dive into some of the nuts and bolts of how certain progressions work, and to dive in so that when you approach a tune, you've come across certain harmonic situations or certain harmonic changes where it's like, oh, I know that sound. I have things that I hear, or lines that I hear on that change, or I've worked on those particular chord changes. So if you can, let's say, especially understand some of the changes, in terms of, okay, this is let's say a 1 chord on SOS, say 1 chord, and then to say, okay, well, this is a 5 of the flat 6, right? And then a 2-5 back to C minor. So then you're kind of familiar with that. Those kinds of things are going to come up in lots of different tunes and lots of different keys. So so it's important to be able to do that in many different keys, or all keys, and then learning tunes will be a lot quicker and a lot easier with some of those foundational sorts of things. Also just thinking about very fundamental things, how do we think about outlining the changes of a 5 to a flat 6, or whatever it is. We have certain changes of C minor. We know something else goes to E flat. Then we could think, okay, I need to know the 5 of both of those things. So, or, because that's another thing. So that you might say, okay, well, if I play that sound, then this tone is a major third on that sound. And we do know that it does go major there a little bit later, but then you might say, okay, well, maybe a 9 would be a better choice, since overall we're kind of in minor. So right, and be able to kind of outline that change. And so things, that like playing a 5-1 progression be able to play like a E flat to A flat in different positions. You also keep it real simple. You know, so just some little things like that to work on, so that different tunes and different harmonies come up, and kind of can handle those as they arise. All right, I'm going to stay on for a couple more minutes, and so I hope everybody's doing well out there and getting some practice and having fun with the guitar, all that. And I'm live streaming on the podcast and live streaming on Facebook. And a couple things I'm working on. I'm working on a Baden-Powell chord melody thing. And been working a little bit on Inori by Pat Metheny. And some other Pat Metheny, some classical compositions, Road to the Sun. That's sort of a thing that I'm not intending to really record. I have to really intensely set a lot of time daily away for that, and have a significant, probably have to do that for quite a few months to really get those going. But I'm trying to kind of treating those as a sort of a study, and just having fun playing those lightly, just different sections of it. There are some really fun things. There's these odd time signatures, and so that's a lot of fun to play around with, and just really great, well written music, and some really cool just guitar kinds of things, using open strings and fretted tones in different regions, and combining those two things. I think that's really kind of cool. So it's nice to also try to just gain insights into a guitarist like Metheny writing for like classical guitar, doing composition. A composer who is a guitarist composing for guitar, specifically, and a piece that is solo guitar. So it's really kind of fun to play around with and all that. All right, everybody. Well, thanks so much for checking this out. Hope you're having a great day, a great weekend, and I will see you all in the next one.